Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. And we planned this presentation to be in English because we wanted to have international guests as well. But I think I just scrolled through the participants. Most of you are German. And I already saw a few of my information specialist colleagues. So I'm happy that you're here. But I'm going to present now in English because we don't know if one or two international guests are under us. But as you can hear with my German accent, it will be for the Germans, it will be easy. Yeah, so hello. What if alternatives to PubMed in ClinicalTrials.gov? So I am, as Valerie said, I'm the head of the information management department at IGWIG. I'm an information specialist. And so at the beginning of last year, this year, um, there were several publications, news that were really disturbing, and we didn't know what we have to expect in terms of US databases. So together with Cochrane, Germany, and the Federal Joint Committee, we discussed to create a document for researchers on different options, alternatives, if the main databases, and that is PubMed or ClinicalTrials.gov, that is the main study registry, will not be accessible. So we, for 2 or 3 weeks ago, we published a document that lists all the alternatives and also what we recommend what should be done in the future. These are the link for the German and for the English version. So why do we think that we have to be concerned about PubMed? And I wanted to give you a summary what we saw in the last months. I think the main part where we woke up was March 1st and March 2nd. There was a PubMed blackout for 2 days, and a lot of discussions were going on in the social networks, why this blackout was there, what happened. Also, different researchers messaged that in different parts of the world they had access or they had not. So that was a first wake-up call for us to really think about if there would be alternatives. Then another thing that happened, of course, there are different kind of news from the US regarding research, but I think a really interesting part was that the HHS, that's the Ministry for Health, I'm not sure the exact translation, that they are going to cut jobs. They said in the whole ministry 20,000 positions, and that would also be at the NLM, the National Library of Medicine, that are hosting PubMed and ClinicalTrials.gov. Another thing you have to be aware of, that there are certain registries, I think, especially cancer registries, where international scientists are no longer allowed or excluded. So that was a first sign that there could be some kind of limitations for certain countries. Then also an information that's worthwhile to note is that in May, the ZBMed, that's the German Library of Medicine, submits an application for funding to develop an alternative to PubMed. I'm sure quite a few of you were always on this information they organized where they informed about what they are planning to do. And I know someone from CPMID is right now as a participant in this meeting as well. And something that was discussed within the information specialist network we have is that on July 25th, there was a maintenance work planned. And this was really highly unusual because usually the changes in PubMed is done in parallel with the ongoing operations. And when they have something like that, they would really usually be a very detailed list of what they are planning to do. And at this maintenance, there was not, there was just, yeah, it's general maintenance. And it was not clear what is going on. And we had so our impression was that it might be due to staffing constraints that they are doing the maintenances and stop PubMed, but we are not sure. But what is really important is that all resources, on Monday, all resources were available and everything was fine after that. But on August 25th, that was the first day I had in office after my summer holidays, and I tried some things, and I realized that there were several server errors or that the search was temporarily not available. I think that is something we experienced in the past sometimes, but I also discussed that with colleagues, and they tried that again in different at home or at the office. But there were really quite a few of us were these errors. So I think that's important to know that there is something going on, and that something like that could be happen in the future more often. So the three different pathways we wanted to be prepared are the following. The one, first of all, we wanted to be prepared if PubMed or clinical trials are no longer accessible in Europe. And that is something we worked on to have alternatives for that. Then there could also be the case that the systems are no longer reliable, that you have error messages or that there might be a filter of unwanted terms or journals. And that is something that we are seeing right now, as I explained to you in the other slide. And that we have to deal with that as well. And we are also working on recommendations on what to do if these kind of disturbing things occur more often. And the other thing is that special databases or sources are no longer available. For example, at IQWiC, we also look for ARC reports quite on a regular basis. And also we use this bookshelf database that's called bookshelf source is called StatPulse, and we are looking for that really often. And that is something, if these alternatives are not available, it's not I would not say it's not important, but we could manage without them. So before I start with what alternatives we see and explain the different databases, I have to say that it's really a different thing, and we have to make a distinction between the simple journal coverage and journals you might miss with different databases. But what is really an outstanding feature of PubMed and also of ClinicalTrials.gov is the data metadata and the search functionalities that are available. So our impression is, or our knowledge is, that even if the database or the would cover the MEDLINE journals, it's not easy or nearly impossible to find the sources or to find the studies we want to find, because the search functionalities are not that good than PubMed. And because PubMed, the search functionalities are, you can't see them anywhere. And the metadata, for example, the mesh terms, is not comparable, for example, to Embase even, and the entry terms as well. Also, we use for our information retrieval a lot of search filters, validated search filters, and these search filters are not to this extent available in other databases. So this is something we have to take into account if we talk about alternatives. So when we first started our analysis, we started with comparing the coverage of MEDLINE journals. Just to clarify, PubMed is the interface, MEDLINE is the database. And if I talk about, sometimes I use the word PubMed, sometimes I use the term MEDLINE, but what I mean is PubMed is the interface and MEDLINE is the main database. So here is it called MEDLINE. We started with analyzing the MEDLINE journals and to see if they are covered in other databases as well. And we found out that Embase is indexing 64% of MEDLINE journals. But you have to be aware, of course, Embase is also importing MEDLINE references. So at the moment you would see MEDLINE and Embase references in Embase, but I'm talking about the journals that are indexed in Embase, and that is 64% generally indexed in Embase. That's 64%, but we also have Crossref, and I'm talking about Crossref later on, and the journal coverage is 94%. So together with Embase and Crossref, you can reach 96% database coverage, what is really a good thing. And because so in terms of coverage, in terms of journals, everything or nearly everything is covered. What we did after that, we analyzed the databases via searchsmart.org. That is a database where you can choose between what kind of search functionalities you would like to have and what kind of coverage. And our criteria we used for that was the data pool the different databases have, the search functions, and of course, availability. And this is the summary of our recommendations. There is a difference, we have a difference between, are we using free of charge databases or fee-based databases? And of course, MEDLINE is free of charge at the moment, and you can use an API to search MEDLINE. So a lot of databases have MEDLINE references included in their database. And so I'm talking about the archive. So if PubMed would stop today, then the archive would be searchable through different databases. And The ones that are free of charge is EuroPMC and lands.org. And the ones that are fee-based is MEDLINE, search via the interface of it, and Embase, as I explained before. They also include MEDLINE references, and through databases like Web of Science and Scopus. So this is the archive, and if all the references starting from today, in this scenario that today would PubMed would stop, then the current references could be searched free of charge via Crossref, for example, via lens.org, and fee-based through a combination of Embase and Crossref could be searched via lens.org. I'm going to explain that a little bit because some of you might be not familiar with the different databases, so I'm going to explain that. If you have certain questions regarding the databases, we can do that in the end. So for example, EuroPMC, as I said, is also includes the MEDLINE references. It's developed by the European Bioinformatics Institute. It's part of the Wellcome Trust Fund, and they integrate content from a range of sources. And at the moment, for example, they are famous for the preprint servers they include in their database. So if you're looking for preprints, EuroPMC is right now a really good source. And I also added a screenshot from searchsmart.org. As you could see, the search functionality and the interface is like that. So it's sufficient. But they don't have a search history, so it's okay, but it's not really that good. Then we have lens.org. Lens is located in Australia. They just a really, in an overview, they have patent documents and scholarly work, but it's multidisciplinary. And they have extensive search functionalities and interfaces. And I also wanted to explain Crossref. So Crossref is Publisher International Linking Association. It's located in the US, and it's the largest DOI registration agency of the International DOI Foundation. And basically, they enable persistent cross-platform citation linking, and they are not really a database that could be searched. It's just a source, or it's a DOI registration platform. And as you could see in SearchSmart, the search functionalities in the interface is limited. So if you want to have access to the Crossref publications, you have to search Crossref via a different database, for example, lens.org. And as I explained here, we try to find out which of the databases that include Crossref have the best search functionalities. And from what we learned from SearchSmart, lens.org is the one with the right now with the best search functionalities. So that was these are our recommendations for an alternative for PubMed. And I have to say, for example, lens.org, I'm not aware of any validated search filters you can use for lens.org interface, for example. And also, I don't know right now. I heard that they have problems with access to abstracts, and that there might not be as many abstracts available and searchable right now. So that might be a problem for cross-references, also for other databases that include Crossref as source. So that is something we have to think about. Yeah, and also, but I think it's the best option we have right now. So that was in terms of PubMed. In terms of ClinicalTrials.gov, there are also two different options. The first one is where are we able to search the archive? And the archive is, of course, available through the WHO ECTRP search portal. And at ICWIC, we experimented with how to search the ECTRP search portal in combination with the Internet Archive Wayback Machine. I'm going to show that in a minute. And for future registration and searches, I think for ClinicalTrials.gov, there are different options available. For example, we have in Germany, we have the DRKS study registry, and of course different countries have different national study registries as well. And the ICTRP search portal usually includes all the different national study registries. And also we have CITES. This is the study registry from the EMA. And it's not open right now for registration because it's included in the approval process of drugs. But this is something I think we could work on or discuss if these kind of registries could be opened for public studies as well. Yeah, so I'm going to show a few slides how this could work. As an example, I used a study in a recent dossier assessment we did on guselkumab, Crohn's disease, and the study is Galaxy 1. So if you look in ClinicalTrials.gov, you can see that this study has results. And but I'm not sure if you are aware of that. When you search the study in the ICTRP search portal, as you can see here, the study is available, but there are no additional documents or the results are not available through ICTRP search portal. So for that, we would use the Wayback Machine. I tried it this morning. You could you enter Wayback Machine and then you would search for the database, or you would search for the internet address ClinicalTrials.gov, and then you could see you could choose a date at which date you would like to have the internet address. And so I tried it this morning, and I tried August so a very recent version of the database, but these were not available. So I tried January 31st. That was possible. Why the Wayback Machine was not available for August ClinicalTrials.gov, I'm not sure. We're going to have to check that. So I tried January 31st, and then you get the ClinicalTrials.gov interface, and above you can see it's within the Wayback Machine. And then you can search, for example, for the NCT number, and you see, then you can see the reference or the study and the different documents as well. Okay, then what option we have as well is the ESR CTN registry. It's really well-known registry from the UK. Although it's commercial, it is an NGO, and the infrastructure is via BMC Springer Nature. It's fee-based for if you want to register your study. And I'm German, so that's why I say it has decent search functionalities. Yeah, this is the ESRCTN on ESRCTN study registry, and I think that is an available and good alternative for international study registries. So, and now so these are our different alternatives. Now I'm at the summary or kind of conclusion, what we think, what should happen next. I think in Europe, the different stakeholders should ask themselves what they could do when there would be an outage of PubMed in ClinicalTrials.gov. And don't get me wrong, at the moment, I would think, because we just for the last few months, as we worked on these alternatives, I think it's clear at the moment that that we will lose PubMed or ClinicalTrials.gov at any date in the near future. I think that's not. It doesn't seem to be realistic at the moment. I think what we will see is these kind of arrows that I talked about like last Monday. But I think nonetheless, there should be different steps that could be done. For example, if there are any databases or new initiatives, and I talked about the ones from ZBMed, if they could take over. But I think what is really necessary and important is that there should be professional search functions available. And there, at the moment, there Embase comes, in my point of view, next, but after that, there are not many databases that can compete with the search functionalities we have in PubMed and ClinicalTrials.gov. And I think we have a long way to go, and it's really complicated to come on this level of PubMed search functionalities. And for study registries, I think we should also discuss to expand and to open up existing alternatives. I talked about CITES or other study registries as well. So I think we would need sustainable structures independent from the current political situation. Of course, IGWIG or the Federal Joint Committee or Cochrane, Germany, we don't have the mandate or the will to pursue something like that. But I think all of us and politics in Europe should discuss that. And what I would like to know from you is if there are other experiences or information, what do other institutions at the moment? Is that helpful, these recommendations we published? Are there any other joint or local activities planned, or do you have other ideas? And of course, I'm open to questions as well.